Yeah, defensively, it's interesting. This is kind of a more open-ended thing because Seattle has been really sloppy defensively since really the beginning of December. I remember we started the show around that time. I was so excited because they had played who was it, Florida so well defensively. They had clogged the middle of the ice. Yeah, Florida, they beat the hell out of Boston, and then the Tampa Bay game happened, and then you go on this streak of losing to Tampa Bay. Ottawa at home, you get shut out. Chicago on the road, Vegas on the road, and then Colorado, and then you get the break. And then there's the wacky Buku Vancouver game, and then we go on from there.
Hmm.
Um, the blue line is an interesting topic because you're paying a lot of money there from top to bottom, whether it's the Larson Dunn pairing where they give Larson the extension, which was an interesting one just because he's a little older. Um, you give him that extension. You keep him happy. You keep obviously Vince Dunn happy. You gave Vince Dunn the extension not last offseason, but the offseason before, I believe. Um, excuse me. Obviously, you paid a lot of money to Brandon Montour, and I feel like that's all well earned despite not producing points as of late. Jamie Alexiak's making a good chunk of money, and then you get down to Riker Evans and Josh Mahura. Riker Evans still on the last year of his ELC, and then Josh Mahura essentially making league minimum. I don't know what have you seen defensively? Like there's some goals like the 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 Kako the turnover the second goal for Washington this past game that they played and I think some people initially put the blame on Dunn Larson. I'm like, well, like Kako was the one at the top of the ice. Like I don't really blame him for that one. It's like yes, you could have gotten back, I guess, but I don't know. Um, but it just feels like with a blue line that's not that bad. Like they're not bad players. They're getting
Hmm.
overpaid. Um, but like it's obvious that things haven't really worked out this year, and maybe it is like with how they don't understand what Bob Woods is giving them, defensively as their new D coach, or it just you hear about miscommunications. Like there have been goals where it's been broken down. One of the demons pointing to the other to get that guy, and he doesn't do it, and he stays in the middle of the ice, and it leaves someone back door. Like you can go down and break down a lot of these goals and see where things don't get picked up or left alone. You know, I don't know, Jade. What do you think about these defensive issues and like I don't know. Like at this point, how do you fix that sort of thing? Right? Because I mean, they've made a change. They put Alexiak and Montour, they split that up, and they've got Montour and Evans and Alexiak and Mahura. Um, and now essentially Jamie Alexiak's making third pairing money, which that's that's no. Like, I don't know. I know our buddies at ECH proposed on their last podcast, they proposed breaking up that blue line a bit. Um, depending on what becomes available, and it won't make people happy. Like what you'd have to go and listen to what they said, but the ideas of trading a Dunn or a Larson came into mind. They didn't talk about trading Alexiak as much, which I thought was fascinating. I was like, I would get rid of that contract as soon as I can. Um, but I don't know, just and not specifically that, but just defensively, what have you seen and what are your thoughts? I mean, because this has been an issue all season. Like outside of the games here and there, which I got excited about in December, like they've
Hmm.
just made some dumb mistakes.
You summed up a lot of my thoughts. The only thing that I could think of is, I don't know. I would I would basically say everything that you just said. My only thought for like maybe switching up some of the D pairings is I know that Brandon Montour and Mahura have some chemistry, they've played together for a while, and when they first came here, they made jokes about like uh I think it was Mahura made a joke about like I just go everywhere Montour goes or or vice versa, whatever. Um so I don't know. I would maybe see how they do, but then also are you putting that are you putting the Montour contract on to a third line, or are you moving Mahura up when he hasn't quite earned it, I guess? But I don't know. The blue line is something that has had me scratching my head quite a bit for some time now. And I haven't listened to the ECH opinions about it, but I'm sure I would agree with them, just given my own personal opinions and thoughts. But yeah, there's something's got to give at some point, and I just don't know. I just don't know. I feel like forwards are so much easier to kind of like speculate and, move this person and switch around this pairing or whatever. And then you get to the blue line and it's like, okay, this is a little bit more intense because there's got to be some, I'd like a little bit more chemistry, I guess, between the two players where they can kind of read each other. They can see what the other person is going to start doing. Um, yeah, I don't know.
It's yeah,
The
I
blue line is tough.
it is, and especially because of how much money you've dedicated to it. Like,
Hmm. You have
especially in the
24
last
point almost $8 million just this season dedicated to the blue line.
I was like, there's a lot more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and and there's a lot of term as well. With
Hmm.
Larson getting that much money, I don't know how much longer Vince is.
Till
Um,
27, 28, and
okay,
then
next few
Larson
years.
and Montour both 28, 29, I think.
Oh, Jesus. Um,
And then
yeah,
Alexiak is 26, 27.
yeah, get that out of here. Get it out of here. Um, yeah, I mean, in my mind, I would like to like I'd keep I like unfortunately the guys that I would move from this are Alexiak and Larson. As much as it pairs me to say Larson, I would move that. The only thing
Mhm.
is with Larson, this year he's got a modified no trade, and then the next 2 years he's got a no trade. So you'd either have to do that this year to one of the teams he'd be okay with, or ask him to waive it um over the next 2 years. So you're stuck in that contract, and he's 32. Alexiak, you've got through what does he have? That's also one of the
Yeah.
things with the Ron Francis contracts. Like if you look at the top four of these D men, they all have something. And then same with so many of these forwards as well. They all have some sort of no trade or something like that. People want to move, yeah, the Burakovsky stuff. He's got a modified no trades to the next 3 years. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, Chandler Stevenson has a no move clause through the next 4 years. Oh, Jesus Christ. Uh, um,
I know I'm a little bit biased in this, but I'm a little bit of a Stevenson truther because he's not quite doing what everybody's expecting him to do, but he's doing okay given his past gameplay with other teams.
sure. Yeah. No, and that's the thing is like if he's able to produce how he has been, it doesn't like
Hmm.
make up for his contract, but it's much more stomachable.
Yep.
Um,
His contract is maybe a bit much, but it does
yeah,
make it better when you look at
sure. Like
overall everything.
there are other contracts you need to move from that group, whether it's
Hmm.
Burakovsky, um,
Gord.
Tanev, Board will have to move with that 5 million, or if you want him back next year on a much cheaper deal,
Hmm.
um, yeah, Tanev's got to move, and then you just kind of get to the lower echelon. Kako's got to get paid, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, no, it's unfortunate to say, but the contract side move, I say unfortunate, largely looking at Larson. Um, and his numbers have been down at least by his standards this year, and at least by going off of the hockey stat cards over the last few games, not the Spur game because obviously Vince had a better game in that one, but like the hockey stat cards have really not liked that pairing over the last few games. So
Yep.
I don't know. It's interesting defensively, and I wonder how much of that is their new D coach and Bob Woods. Like people are so ready to jump on just like a Campbell when it comes to the power play and that, and probably because of her being a woman. But
Hmm.
Like with the defensive issues, and I think a lot of the casual fans don't get that. Like your Kraken fan page will just, immediately go to a group hour or someone will go to the goalie. They won't do it for Joey though.
No,
Um,
never.
and they'll just go straight to, again, I've talked about it. Like just like with a hitting coach, it's largely up to the players when they step in the batter's box to execute. Same thing with the power play. Like if you could drop the best play ever and it's got, put the defenders in motion. I think like using what Jared McCann was talking about on the 5-on-3, push the defenders in motion, all this and that, and get the look that you want. And if they don't execute, they don't complete the pass, they turn the puck over. It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Um, you know, so it's like I don't know. So
I
it goes back to that is how much of that is maybe Bob Woods either not communicating what he's trying to teach the best or they're not executing it.
mhm. I also just looked at Money Puck super quick, which I know is something that you and I both reference quite a bit, and um, the Dunn Larson pairing for total lines, offensive and defensive, is 11th this year, which I don't know if that was the case last year. Let me look really quick. Um, oh no, just kidding. Last year is a little bit more meddled because there was a lot of pairs that played a little bit more, but Dunn Larson this year is 11th, which is not great. Dunn Montour is 4th in production.
Jesus.
So, yep, I'm inclined to agree with you. That's playing 55 minutes or more, which isn't that much, but that's kind of the standard that I tend to set things at because I feel like that gives you a little bit more of like, okay, or 60 minutes. That gives you a little bit more of a, you've played one full game, what's, kind of what's going on here. So, um, yeah, I've also been inclined to agree with you on the moving the Larson contract.
It's
Sent with
just
invisible ink for
tough.
everybody that listens to this.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. But at the same time, like also, this is just an ACH plug at this point, but listening to their armchair GM, they floated the idea of like Vince Dunn for Jason Robertson in case like Dallas is looking for a D. Obviously, Seattle needs talent. People are like, oh, I don't know if I'd move Vince Dunn for that. I'm like, do you not understand the caliber? I'm not saying this just as a Filipino either. The caliber of forward that Jason Robertson is, like, he
Hmm.
is miles better than what the Kraken have right now at
Yep.
forward. Like, I think some of this is like not maybe knowing, you know, there are going to be tough decisions made over the next few years as Seattle moves out of the expansion draft era.
Hmm.
Like you're not gonna see you're gonna move especially down. You're gonna be without Burakovsky, probably Jaden Schwartz, uh
Which
Yanni
that's kind of a
Gord.
bummer to me with my 17 10 84 love, but it's fine. Somebody will
Yeah,
replace him.
it's just you get that. And it's funny already looking at the bottom of the forward list money wise, and it's already so different in that regard. Like 10 have gone. Who knows if Everly will still be playing? Um, but like I look at the little injury thing and it just says Elvis. Thanks, great, awesome.
Helpful.
Um, Lexiak gone. Depending on what they do, Larson might be gone. Grubauer gone. Like you'll see a lot of this gone, and we'll move into this next era, and it's just necessary. I mean, when you've got guys like Bertley Catton, that you've already signed to an ELC as a 19-year-old.
Hmm.
Edward Shale, Jagger Firkus, Yanni Newman, Carson Raykopf. Um, the defenseman side, I don't know how well Lucas Dragicevic has been, but he's signed his ELC already. Vileo Tavainen might be ready at some point. Ty Nelson, Caden, like you've got these guys who you've drafted. This is all part of a franchise, right? Like
Hmm.
there will be the big moves and shit like that. Well, there you go. That will happen.
Took you a while this
So,
time.
you know, but anyway, I don't know. It's just interesting. Like you will have to accept the change at some point, which is
Hmm.
tough. Like, and I'm not saying this to be mean, but you saw how badly things blew up about Will Borgen. Like things will get worse when those other traders, sorry, players either get traded or leave in
Yep.
some other regard, So
And there's, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
it's gonna be interesting. Um, just as a fan base and, as the franchise tries to, they will have to accept a new era. So
Hmm.
anyway, the hmm, the week ahead is an interesting one, Jayd.
Sure is.
Yeah, it starts with that excuse me. It starts with that Edmonton game that is happening the day that this comes out at Edmonton, 6:30 p.m. start, Kraken Hockey Network and Kong. Yeah, that is the first game for the Oilers that they'll get Connor McDavid back from suspension. Excuse me, goodness. And I mean, they already sit at second in the Pacific. I think what fourth I read overall in the standings. God, how have they done lately? I have to look at this. I don't want the Rogers game calendar. I just want your schedule, dog. What the hell? I want to see how you've done in recent games. Is this so difficult to ask? There we go. Um, how have you played lately? Beat the King. So wait, let's see. 4-7. Oh, sick. They've won six of their last seven games.
Yep.
Wonderful. That's even better. Uh, what is this? Eight of their last 10. This is just great. This is just great. Oh, well, let's make it better. 10 of their last 12. Mm,
Cool.
mm. This is great. And they're getting McDavid back. He's scoring like seven goals. This is gonna be wonderful. Yeah,
McDavid hat trick.
they punched the Canucks in the mouth on Thursday with a 6-2 win. They barely beat Buffalo. Don't understand that. They did lose to Washington by one goal. So there's that. I think that was the first game of his suspension. Um, yeah. So that'll be tough. Then the next game they play Anaheim at home at 7 o'clock. We'll see how that goes. I think that's the first game they'll play against Anaheim since they beat them before that ugly stretch of games for Seattle.
Yep.
Oh, nope.
No?
Seattle lost. Oh, that's right. Seattle lost 2 days later, 5-2. Yep. So you're
Oh,
looking
okay.
to take the season series. You're tied 1-1 right now. Then you play the Sharks, and I think this is the first game since.
God,
Oh
those are,
no, you've lost the first two games of the series. That's right. Yeah, you lost that horrible game. Then you lost 4-2. That's right. That was the last game before December.
yep.
Uh,
The last two games before December because it was the
back. Yeah.
29th and the 30th in November,
Yep.
5-8, and then a 2-4 loss.
So they play the Sharks there on Thursday. They get Friday and Saturday off before Sunday when they play Calgary at 6 o'clock. So
And Thursday is a 7:30 start,
that's
just
right,
for
and it's on
everybody listening.
ESPN.
Yep. I looked at that
Oh
the other
boy,
day and I was like, there's no way it's 7:30. And then I was like, nope, yep, that's 7:30. Cool.
boy. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, with how they've played in the last 2 weeks, like I feel a little bit better about their chances, immediately. But the concern for how much they'll use Joey Cord, um, and like their ability to just fall completely on their face and just be terrible, like still
Hmm.
exists. So, it's an interesting time for this franchise. So,
Yep.
um, yeah, for that, and we'll use this last clip to say Joey Decord hates me, at least hates my Premier League team. He's a Man United guy, and I'm an Arsenal guy. Joey Decord is perfect in a lot of ways. His Premier League team is not one of them. Sorry, Joey. I will send this to you. Anyway, until we see you next week, we'll probably figure out what we have to do in terms of recording for next week's show because that Calgary game um is on a Sunday, but we'll figure it out. So until we see you next time, take care of yourselves, be well, and do whatever you can to make today a great day.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, where are you going to watch all those Kraken away games?
Cracking away games, making a push. I was thinking of coming here just because Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, only if that's okay with you.
I mean, I love that idea. Hope to see you here.